Okay, so we're smoking all my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty greats, overachieving, never slacking. I got another American reacts now. I was told on my last video, they didn't feel like I was reacting enough, right? And the reason for that was because in a previous video, someone said they wanted to see more of the video. So I guess I was just trying to balance that out. But with that being said, I'm going to react a lot more on this one and give my opinion a lot more. And also, let me turn that volume up because I know people were saying the volume was pretty low. So let me get that up. We're going to hop right into this. Original link will be in the description. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell if you wish. And with that being said, let's hop right into this.
An American without them telling you they're American.
So I'm American, but I studied abroad in London during college, and we had like some orientation to like tell us about, what it was like studying abroad. And they said, you have to do things because people will notice that you're American. There are things that Americans do that they don't do in England, like smile at strangers on the sidewalk. And I thought, what kind of psychopath smiles at a stranger on the sidewalk? Like, why are you even telling me this? Is super weird. Fast forward, I get to London. I'm excited. I go for a walk around my neighborhood, and people keep looking at me weird. I'm like, God, these guys are kind of assholes. And then I realize I'm the psychopath smiling at strangers on the sidewalk.
Can you tell someone?
That's actually funny. I actually smile. I naturally smile at people because I'm the type of person I just like to give off good energy. I don't like to walk around miserable. So there's so many places like I'll be with my peoples and I'll smile at someone and they'll be like, you just gave them a strange smile. I don't realize I'm doing it. Sometimes when we smile, we may just come off strange, like especially when people don't expect that. So we got to remember that too. Sometimes we might be like, and it does get awkward sometimes, just be like, and me, I'm like, so I don't know, maybe I come off strange sometimes, but people definitely, a lot of people like it, but then there's certain people that I feel like are caught off guard for sure.
Someone is an American without them telling you they're American.
Well, Americans, or at least the most of them, they can't drive a manual. And it's not just that, but when they find out that anyone in the world can drive one, they look at you like you're totally insane. Now, I don't know about America, but at least in most countries in Europe, you don't get a driver license if you can drive a manual. That's like basic stuff for us.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
So I'm actually American, but I lived overseas for like 10 plus years. I've lived in Africa and Europe, and I've been pretty much everywhere. So let me tell you how I can tell if you're an American tourist or not. One of the biggest definers is how you dress. Any man I see that's wearing cargo shorts, I immediately know is American. Also, footwear tends to be a pretty big identifier. American sneakers.
I got cargos on right now. I always wear cargos. What can I say, man? They're durable. It's just they're easy. They got a bunch of pockets. You don't got to worry about losing things half the time. What can I say? Yeah, it's all my Americans. What can we say? What can we say?
Are pretty ugly, and lots of people don't really wear sandals overseas. Also, depending on where you are, your height can be a huge identifier. I lived in the Netherlands for 4 years, and the Dutch are a very tall people. So anyone that was 6 foot or shorter, I could kind of tell. Also, the very obvious.
That's crazy. Genetics really does mean something, doesn't it? I didn't know that. In the Netherlands, that majority of people are like 6 foot or taller.
One is Americans tend to be louder than other people. You pretty much make it known whether you want to or not because Americans have such loud voices. Also, at least in Europe, Americans tend to dress more for comfort than style. Almost 100% of my fashion sense nowadays is because I lived in Europe. Europeans dress up just to go to the grocery store.
For you, how can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Extremely white and functional trainers or sneakers and baseball caps.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
I was serving a table of Americans once, and they were driving down from Dublin on a motorway, and they asked us why there was a castle in the middle of the motorway and why we didn't just knock it down to put the motorway through it. The 1,000-year-old castle, sure.
How can you...
Okay, that's definitely something an American would say. To be honest, like we're definitely not used to seeing castles. And if we do see castles, I'm sure it's not going to be nothing like in Europe or these other, it's not. Like, I want to see a castle. Like, I want to see one of them real life Game of Thrones castles. That's like they're going to know I'm American because I'm just going to I'm be excited as hell. I'm not even going to lie. I'm be excited as hell. I love castles.
You tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American.
Ooh, I can answer this question. I live in Paris currently, and I noticed that us Americans are very loud and excitable. So if you're like in the public touristy areas, and especially on the metro, and see a very loud group of people, 9 times out of 10, they're Americans. My current theory on why that is because Americans have a bigger personal space bubble than Europeans, so we have to like yell to get the point across. Also, I don't know if this is exclusively Americans, but we wear a lot of graphic tees with branding on it. And we always get hot and take our coats off. And for some reason, the French never get hot. It could be 75 degrees and they will wear coats and scarves. And I don't know what witchcraft that is. It must be blood magic because like they're fine. They're not breaking a sweat. And those like mark us as great targets for grifters and scam artists.
Okay, so guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. But hey, I got your back.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Usually it's the clothing. It's either you can see them wearing brands that are not readily available here in Germany or in Europe, or it's a certain style, like an athleisure wear that's just not very common here. Like even to go to the supermarket, people will still throw on a pair of jeans and a sweater, even if it's their messiest look. They'll still kind of put together, whereas you'll see someone literally shopping in their slippers. And you know that person's an American. People here tend to, kind of dress up even to go shopping. Also, volume. And I myself can be heard from at least 200 feet away when I speak. Yeah.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
So, little story time. So I used to be a waiter at a 4-star hotel near a Formula 1 circuit, and like every so often, because of the circuit, we had loads of people coming from different countries, so Japan, America, Canada, all that sort of stuff. Had some Americans come in and sit on my table. Their food was included, but their drinks were not, so they were paying for their drinks. I could tell they were American/Canadian. I couldn't tell by the full accent, but I could tell they were American as soon as they tipped, because they tipped a considerable amount compared to their actual bill price, and it was quite a bit of a shock on the actual tipping culture in America.
Question for you.
It's because in America we're always working, so we understand like as far as like what people go through, and it's just tip is like it's just the culture, like. People be working hard, and it's like the rudest thing not to tip, so people tend to, they tend to get that money up,
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Is Hitler still your president?
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
If I ask them where they're from and they start to reply with percentages, they're American. If I tell them I'm Italian and they say they're Italian too because their great-grandpa was an immigrant, they're American. If they say stuff along the lines, oh, I have pizza every Saturday night, so we are the same, they're American.
Yeah, you already know pizza and Americans, man. I mean, that's just the thing out here. That's just the thing. But as far as what she's saying about Italians, I can see that. I definitely met a lot of people that I'm Italian. My great. Yeah. She's not lying. She's definitely not lying.
If they start to speak in like a mafia boss accent, like the ones from the movies, they're American. If they say I went to Europe once, they're American, because they're the only ones who don't know Europe is not just one country. If they don't understand the time on my phone, they're American.
Hold up. guys. Ads. Let's get past these ads. So far, it's on point. I'm not gonna lie. Certain things I'm seeing that a lot of these that I watch these videos. Some of them don't be on point, but this one, yeah, I can rock with this one.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Oh my god, here we go. Obnoxiously loud in public transportation. Will talk slowly to you even though you speak perfect English. Always wearing their collared sweatshirts and a baseball cap.
How can you tell someone is an American?
Okay, what's wrong with the baseball cap, though? Really? I like baseball caps. I throw on a nice gray brim. You know, I got long hair. Hey, I don't see what's wrong with it personally. Like, that's just our style. Like, you know, we baseball teams, that's classic American stuff. I mean, that's just what we do, you know? Like, that's what we do. Baseball caps.
Without them telling you they're American.
Now that is indeed a good question, because as a European and a Dane, we kind of figure it out quite easily. Here are some of the following statements or comments that I've got or heard. Hej, hvad kan jeg gøre for dig I dag? I'm sorry, I don't speak German. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were a tourist. What can I get for you today? Oh my god, like your accent, Oh my god, your accent. I cannot believe that you guys in Denmark are so nice, because I thought you were all communists, you know, like the Russians. Excuse me, hey? Yeah, what can I get for you? Would you please translate that on the board, because I don't understand that. Sure thing, it says cappuccino, but that is not a Danish coffee, like, you know, I want a Danish coffee. You mean filterkaffe? Yeah, that one, that is the Danish coffee, right?
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you?
Honestly, like, I as far as the last one, I don't even know what to say on that one, guys. Like, certain ones is just kind of like, it just depends on the person you're talking to. You got, I don't know. You got some people that are just different, man.
They're American.
I'm going to tell a story to answer this question. I used to work at a National Historic Site, and we get a lot of visitors from all over the world. And since this is Canada, whenever you'd interact with a visitor, you'd say hello, bonjour. You know, giving them the choice to speak English or French. Anyway, this guy comes in, and he's got a cowboy hat on, a buttoned-up shirt that's tucked into his jeans, he has leather boots, and to top it all off, his belt has American dollar bills printed on it. So me and my coworkers did our thing. We said, oh, hello, bonjour. And instead of just saying hi and continuing on with things, he stopped in his tracks, looked at us, and said, we don't speak that funny language. Didn't clarify which language he was talking about, but I think it was French. So yeah, that's how I could tell he was American.
You tell some.
Listen, some people just some people stuck in their ways, you know. There's nothing you can do about that.
Someone is an American without them telling you they're American.
One of the things I learned when I did my study abroad in Ireland is that the way you can tell American is American without having to hear them speak or anything is right here. Tennis shoes. Typically, white tennis shoes. I don't own any white tennis shoes, but only Americans will wear tennis shoes nonstop. Most people in Europe wear like Doc Martens or like a dress shoe that's still really comfortable. But tennis shoes, when they're not at the actual gym, nope. You stand out as an American.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
They ask you some stupid questions. Like, why is everything closed on Sunday in Germany? Or why do you call soccer football? Or even...
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't even say it's stupid. I'm sweating profusely right now. But I wouldn't say it's stupid questions. I would more so just say they literally don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go to a whole new land and you've been taught a certain way your whole life. I mean, you're going to be curious about certain things, you know? Unfortunately, right now in America, people aren't really, there's not many people who really, there's so much distractions and people think a certain way. So if they go somewhere new, they really have no idea, you know? It's just the truth. But I guess the only way to learn is to ask questions. Sometimes you got to sound dumb, I guess. That's how you figure it out.
Why is your coffee so yellow and sparkling?
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
Everything. Absolutely everything. Like their face. Do you know what I mean? How are you? Shut up.
How can you tell someone is an American without them telling you they're American?
It's actually kind of weird because we can spot you from the distance, and I'm not joking. Like, you have this aura, this glow, you glow American. American tourists are usually very loud, very excited, and in a party mode, and very outgoing. I'm from Germany, so most of the time American tourists are very drunk because you always want to try the German beer, which is great. These are all great things, but German people are usually, I'm not, but German people are usually very down to earth, like low-key, in their own little bubble, don't want to talk to strangers mode, and you're like, I want to be...
I guess I'd be more like a German then, because that's exactly how I be. You know, I'm nice. Like I said, I smile, I say hi, but for the most part, I really like my privacy, and I just maneuver very just secluded and to myself.
In your bubble, let me in your bubble, which is great, but it can be annoying. But I like American tourists, like especially on pub crawls, drinking beers with them. It's very awesome meeting them, talking to them. Americans are at the Oktoberfest. Who are not?
What is the weirdest perverse interest an ex of yours has had?
This wasn't an ex.
Okay, so honestly, how I felt about that was just, you know, these people's personal opinion. The only one I say was truly like where I'm like, as far as an American coming off a certain way, was the guy just saying we don't speak that funny language. Like that was pretty ignorant, you know, because to just be that way, that's just closed-minded. I've traveled to almost every state, and this summer I will be all over the place, so I meet a lot of people, come across a lot of people, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm trying to remember what state this was. Hold on. What state was this? Was it Omaha, Nebraska? It's somewhere. Like, I was all over the place, right? And there was like this giant truck stop, like one of the biggest in the world. Long story short, people were like really nice. Like, I have like certain few where it's like I can't tell, okay, is this person racist or they just a mean person, or, you know, I have those every now and then. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, but for the most part, people just want to go about their day and be just be respected. You know, it's just a respect thing. So, as far as like that guy, the point I'm trying to make from wherever he was, the country guy with the cowboy boots, like, don't judge all Americans based off of just one ignorant person. That's really the point I'm trying to make. There's so much distractions in America. Like, we just always got something going on to the point where we really don't get to focus in on other cultures too much. So I'm sure when people travel, they're asking a bunch of questions that to others it's gonna may come off like, what? But you gotta understand, we're literally America's like fast food everywhere. You know, we're just, everything's being pumped out so quick, and there's just so much distractions that people are hardly really getting the focus in. So if they go to a new country and then the excitement and all that, you just kind of just, you know, I wouldn't be so quick to just judge unless they say something outrageously like, whoa, you know, like when I was a kid, you know, when I went camping with my friend and his mom goes, you know, with me being half Nigerian, she goes, I got a question. Do they still burn people in Africa? Like, okay, like that's outrageous. You get what I'm saying? Like, things like that. I get it. But, you know, if someone's just asking basic questions and it's like, they just don't know, man. Seriously. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we should judge people off of that. But I'm sweating. It's super hot. So I'm going to get out of here. And with that being said, the original link will be in the description. Show love to the like button. Hit that subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you wish. And much love to everybody. I will be back with more. Salute.